Welcome. So we got Michael Chastain here. So we're going to do what we're doing. In fact, all this month, which is April now. April Fool's Day. Hey, you're looking good today. April Fools. But today we have a special treat. So this is Michael Chastain. He is a colleague of mine at Cox Health. But he also works with Celebrate Recovery. And I'm not going to go into that, but I was there last night, and they have a brochure on mental health.
Yeah.
So I said, there's hope for you yet. But they also, Celebrate Recovery, we did a presentation a couple years ago, a few years back, on Celebrate Recovery, but we really try to get all the resources out there. And so, Michael, it's an honor to have you here. On a serious note, thank you for being part of this. So I'm going to let you kind of introduce what you do. Occasionally I might interject with a question,
Okay.
but I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then just kind of talk about who you are as a person, and then we'll move forward.
Cool. Well, I'll introduce myself the way we do on Thursday nights at Celebrate Recovery. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ to celebrate recovery from chemical dependency, anxiety, abandonment, and low self-esteem. And my name is Mike.
And then everybody says, hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
I grew up here in Springfield, and a dysfunctional family, and went into the Air Force at the age of 19. Was introduced to marijuana at the age of 13, and that started my addiction at that time. Went into the Air Force and turned to alcohol, and used that as a coping mechanism for many years of my life. Retired out of the Air Force that's 2004. I went in 1984, retired in 2004.
20 years.
I did 20 years. 20 years, 2 months, and 21 days.
How many
Not that I
seconds?
was counting. But in the Air Force, I went overseas to Korea. Spent about 4 years over in Korea. I was on the B-1 bombers, worked on the B-1 bombers, ComNav, defensive avionics, and worked on aircraft basically for about 20 years. So after that, retired out of the Air Force, came back home, went through a divorce, and got in with some old friends and got into a bunch of my old habits. And then got remarried, and then that's where things had to straighten up. I had to straighten up, or I was going to find myself probably divorced again. And that's when I ran into Celebrate Recovery. I ran into Celebrate Recovery in 2014, August of 2014. And I can say that I've been sober since August of 2014.
That's awesome.
That's almost going on 8 years now.
Yeah.
Almost 8 years. But we don't, it's about 7.5 years is about where I'm at. So I got into Celebrate Recovery, and I tried some other programs, but this is the one that worked for me. Everybody's different. Everybody works a little different things. But since I had a church background, this program worked for me. And so Celebrate Recovery is a program that uses the 12 steps that you would see in AA or NA or some other programs like that. And they've added some principles to it that go alongside that. And we meet on a weekly basis. And so there's several here in Springfield. We have one on Monday night. We have one on Thursday night. That's at Ridgecrest. That's the one that I go to, and Carrie has been going to and helping us out there also. And we also have a couple on Sunday nights, one in Nixa and one in Republic. So we have a few here, and then we have more out there in the surrounding area, but that's right here in Springfield. That's what we have. So you can go to celebraterecovery.com, and you can find a meeting close to you, wherever you're at. Because Celebrate Recovery is in 35,000 churches. So it's out there.
Is it around the world as well? Or?
It's around the world as
Wow.
well. It's in 16 different languages.
Okay.
And so it's around the world, and it's about any state, and in every area that you're in, you can almost find a Celebrate Recovery close to you. So it's something that was started about 30 years ago. And so what we found is a gentleman by the name of John Baker. He wanted, and I know that other programs work on the same way, but he wanted something in the church that would be able to minister to those dealing with addictions, those dealing with hurts, hang-ups, and habits. He found out not just alcohol or drugs, but he found that there was other things that people use to cope with life. Maybe codependency, it may be anger, it may be food, all kinds of different things that people use to cope with the hurts and the pains and the way that we deal with life. And so he wanted to come up with a program that would minister to people to be able to overcome those hurts, habits, hang-ups. Find that issue that's lying deep down inside and be able to uncover that, actually heal that wound so that they can start making good, healthy choices.
On that note, if I can interject here, since we started Wellness for Warriors 2016, one of the things that we've talked about is dealing with the core issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times for those that might be struggling with whatever the case, sometimes we don't want to deal with the core issues, right? And so how does one get to that point though? Because I can tell you right now in the conversations I've had just this week alone,
Mm-hmm.
all right, there are many out there that are watching on Facebook Live. There are many that will watch our videos, and you see it with what you're involved with. But how do we get people that need help, right? Of those 22, how do we get them to reach out? What do you see that works for Celebrate Recovery? How do we get people to dig a little bit deeper, if you will, so we can deal with those core issues?
We find it's with connections. It's with people. It's when someone's able to connect with them. And we do have some people that come in to Celebrate Recovery on their own, but most of the time it's someone that's came alongside them and helped them to get into, to come there that night and start that process. And then what we do is we provide a safe environment for them. And once they get into Celebrate Recovery, it's a safe place to share your hurts, your hang-ups, and your habits. It doesn't go get spread out and people talk about it and, in other areas outside of CR. So we have a statement which says, who you see here, what you say here, what you hear here stays here, here. So that means it makes a safe environment. That means people can come in and they may not want to let people know that they're dealing with some issues. So it gives them a safe environment to know that, okay, if I go here and then I go to Walmart or I go to work or I go somewhere else and I run into somebody from Celebrate Recovery, and they're not going to say, hey, saw you at Celebrate Recovery, Now, my identity and so forth, I'm fine with it because of where I'm at in the program and what I do. But there's people that when they're first and they're fresh in that program, they need that confidentiality.
Yeah, and we do that so the department I'm in, Volunteer Services, all our volunteers go through HIPAA compliance.
Mm-hmm.
And as employees, they do too. And that is protecting our patient information. And Michelle, you go over that, being a caretaker. So it's very important that we protect those we serve.
Yes.
That's why I had you sign a model release form,
I'm no model.
But it's very important that we protect those that we're serving, and so they do feel it's safe. And, I appreciate, what I appreciate about CR, and you've never really heard my testimony in person. And so I'm not going to take away your thunder, but it was CR that probably saved my life. I went through a military divorce, and that's a whole nother story. But even before that, there were some things that happened in my life. And So probably April 3rd, 2011 is a day that probably changed my life forever. I didn't become one of those 22, Truman, you know, because somebody reached out.